Sup, y'all? It's me. It's your boy, Glink. And, well, today I wanted to talk about the recent statements from both Nostalrius and Elysium, which are, of course, the two teams working on the World of Warcraft Classic private server. Of course, Elysium had their own realms, and then Nostalrius had their own realms, their own build of vanilla, and then they sort of came together recently until Nostalrius released their statement where they basically backed out, and you can go ahead and read that. I'm sure you've already read it. But I think there's something more to this that no one seems to have read into, which is that I actually think that it's possible that the Nostalrius team knows something that we don't. And more specifically, that it's possible that the Nostalrius team is actually somehow working with Blizzard. Think about this for a second. Nostalrius, of course, is the originators of probably the most popular classic World of Warcraft server before this current Elysium build, and they were involved with that huge controversy where Blizzard shut down their server. Then they actually met with Blizzard with the huge petition, 300,000 signatures, that whole spiel, right? And they did get a meeting with Blizzard behind closed doors, and, you know, Blizzard obviously knew how much of a pushback came from this. But we don't know what actually transpired from that meeting. And, you know, so far we assume it's nothing, but it's possible that maybe even to Nostalrius, until recently possibly, they didn't know anything transpired from this meeting, but actually, in fact, Blizzard had some sort of plans or actually did gain something from this. Now, the reason that I think Nostalrius is still somehow maybe working with Blizzard or knows something that we don't is simply for the fact that Nostalrius basically went in, you know, and they said, we're just going to go all out with this thing. It doesn't look like Blizzard is going to do legacy servers, team up with Elysium, and really just, you know, do our own thing. And that's what they did until, you know, not long after, only about a month after Nostalrius actually teamed up with Elysium, did they release this statement where they basically backed out and said, we don't want to be viewed as pirates. We don't want to have this sort of tainted image by the community because our main goal is to establish legacy servers. And basically to say we want to do this in the most legitimate way possible. I feel like something must have happened to change their minds so much on that. They basically did a complete 180. And I think what is possible is that after the meeting with Blizzard, basically Blizzard had maybe some sort of plan, some sort of loose plan or ideas of implementing some sort of legacy server into World of Warcraft retail. And they basically reached out to Nostalrius not long after they started their own new private server and said, hey, listen, you know, maybe we're going to work with you, maybe we can do something with you, but, you know, you got to basically back out of this whole private server thing if you want to make this legitimate. And of course, Elysium was a separate team than Nostalrius completely, and so Nostalrius had the basically independence to pull out and do this. So I think it's entirely possible that they're working with Blizzard in some sort of way. It doesn't really make sense to me that they would just back out completely out of nowhere for no reason, arbitrarily, and then do this 180 statement about they don't want to be viewed as pirates and all that. And, you know, I feel like that just came out of nowhere. And, you know, what would they have to gain from saying that if they didn't think there was some sort of legitimate possibility of actual legacy servers? I mean, based on their statement, again, you can read it, you can look at it, but the wording they used specifically was that they want their main goal is to get legacy servers. That's their main goal, that always has been, and they want to appear as legitimate as possible. And by having this private server, this joint venture essentially with Elysium, that's kind of not working towards their goal, which would only be the case if there was a legitimate, you know, avenue to get to that goal with Blizzard. And we are not aware of that, of course, and it's entirely possible that Nostalrius was just made aware of that recently, and, you know, maybe they're going to work with Blizzard in some sort of way. And you might say, well, why wouldn't they just come out with a statement regarding that? Well, look, obviously Blizzard is a huge company. You know, any plans that they have, they're not just going to put out there in the open. That could jeopardize, you know, the development of it, that could, you know, leak some stuff. It's something that they're going to make public when they feel it is time to. So that would make sense as to why it seems like the Nostalrius, you know, message was a little bit clouded in an aura of mystery or an aura of like different intentions. That's the way I read it anyways. And then you might say, well, why would Blizzard even work with Nostalrius? I mean, they already had a meeting with them. Wouldn't they know from that meeting? Again, like, it's entirely possible that Blizzard has had these ideas floating around. And they really just kind of now decided, hey, listen, you know, maybe this is something we're going to do. Maybe they came to a decision finally somewhere along their like internal meetings, and they felt like now was the good time to reach out to Nostalrius. And the Nostalrius team would probably be the best candidates to reach out to if Blizzard really did want to make a legacy server, considering that Nostalrius had probably the most stable servers, you know, really successful sort of private server with vanilla and keeping it very like true to form of the original game, which is something that Blizzard seems that even they're unable unable to do. So it would make complete sense to outsource the Nostalrius team. As we know, they had a meeting with them, a highly publicized meeting, and we don't yet know all the details of that. We don't know all of what's come from that, and maybe this is something that is coming from that. And on another level, it's also possible that maybe Blizzard didn't necessarily reach out to Nostalrius full on, but there is some sort of information that the Nostalrius team is privy to that we don't know. Regarding Blizzard, regarding legacy servers, and that's why they're so, concerned with their legitimacy. They're so concerned with the end game goal of achieving legacy servers. Again, like, you have to think about this critically. Why would they just do this out of nowhere? Why would they just back out on something that they just started with Elysium? And to me, right now, it seems like a win-win situation in a way. I mean, if that is what's happening, if that's even a possibility, obviously, legitimate legacy servers would be amazing. And to have Nostalrius doing that while we still get to keep the private server with Elysium, which basically is like the Nostalrius core now, and has all the good parts of the Nostalrius build, is a pretty awesome thing. It's a win-win situation, I think. But, who knows? Maybe Blizzard's going to go after Elysium or something. I'm not really sure. But anyways, that's just my theory on, I really do think that there is something going on between Nostalrius and Blizzard, and let me know what you guys think. I know this video was not like totally high production value. I just wanted to get this off my chest and throw these ideas out there, because again, I've not seen too many people talk about them. I'm playing on Elysium PvP right now with my guild, having a lot of fun, hoping to get to level 60, maybe gonna make some like sick ass, rogue PvP video or something. That'd be awesome. We'll see though. I'm gonna make some maybe a video about World of Warcraft on my main channel, which you can go ahead and subscribe to. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.